So this is the Awakening program. Kindly join the discussion through our Twitter handle at SSDO Awakening and at South Sahara, and also follow the discussion on Facebook and Instagram at the Awakening P on the topic Know Your Candidates. Know your candidates. All right, here in the studio to tell us what they will do for us if given the mandate to represent us during the 2019 general elections are Miss Dr. Chidi Wanyanwu, the governorship candidate of African Action Congress Party, AAC, in Enugu State. You're welcome.
Thank you very much, Trish. Thank you very much.
And we also have Honorable Annie Chukwebuka Henry of the Young Progressive Party, YPP. He is a candidate for Enugu South Urban Constituency. You're welcome.
Thank you, Trish.
All right, so I think we should just kick the ball and get started.
Exactly. So I would love us to start with Dr. Chidi Wanyanwu, the governorship candidate of African Action Congress Party, AAC, in Enugu State.
Yes.
Does your party have an ideology of the league?
Wow. My party has the best ideology and belief and plan or vision for Nigeria amongst all the other parties. And it is represented by the acronym SPICER HIT. We actually took our time, and we have, in our party, we already have a shadow government, so we're not kidding. We already have people in all areas of government that brainstorm and that have sat down and brainstormed on the problems that we have in Nigeria, and we came out with that document, which is represented by that acronym SPICER HIT. I will not bore you with the details, but if you go to our website, because we're a digital-based party, if you go to our website, www.aacparty.com, you will see where we have categorized every item on that agenda.
Just give us a little, let's just
well,
a little bit
SPICER
of what SPICER is.
Yeah, S is for security,
okay.
E is for power, and then you go down.
Okay.
Security is the basis of everything that we're talking about within our party. I would like to concentrate more on my plans for Enugu State, because out of that SPICER HIT, we've crafted a plan for Enugu State. But if you want me to talk generally about our party, I can do that.
Generally, yeah, for now, yes.
Okay, so we realize that insecurity has grounded Nigeria to a halt. And that is why our party is going to employ all kinds of systems, all kinds of technology, especially technology, to battle insecurity. Everybody knows that even though the government of the day says that they fought Boko Haram to a standstill, and then they say technically, and then now Boko Haram is up again. We're going to employ things like even drones. But at the helm of all of this is corruption. Where the service chiefs are corrupted, there is no way we can win. So
is the corruption on its own, or it's under security?
It's under security. Corruption is on its own, but
okay.
it's tied to the insecurity we have in the country.
Okay.
Because the reason why
I'm actually looking at the SPICER HIT, so I know the S is for the security.
Yeah.
So I'm,
everything is integrated in the problem with Nigeria is that everything is somehow connected, even though we have actually spaced them out individually, but they are all interconnected. Now the reason, because somebody is going to say, oh, but the past government invested money in fighting Boko Haram, but then what happened to the money? Because the service chiefs were corrupt. They didn't use the money for what they were supposed to use it for. And that's why a presidential candidate said that once he gets into power, he's going to lock all the service chiefs up. And everybody's like, why would he say that? But he's serious about it.
So let's move on to the others. So you talked about power.
Yeah, power. Yeah. We are able to generate the extra power that is needed to power the country. There's no way our economy will start moving if we don't have power. What we have in Nigeria is a laughable situation. So we're going to use other types of energy, like renewable energy, like solar energy, like wind energy, to generate energy. It's been done elsewhere, and that's what we're going to do in Nigeria.
So which other thing, apart from security power?
Yeah, we have the corruption we already talked about. We have education, we have health, and we have agriculture, we have technology. So
Was it by this ideology that you were selected?
that I was selected.
Selected, yes, to represent or to run under your party for the governorship position in Enugu State.
Oh yes. The reason I was selected was because they have looked at my track record based on what I've been before and the posts that I've held in the past. And they knew that I was the kind of person who will be able to deliver on the manifesto of the party for Enugu State. And it's out of that Spicer heat that we crafted another acronym for Enugu State that we call MEGA, M-E-G-A.
Can you explain that?
Yeah, so for Enugu State, AAC has a mega vision. Now, under that mega vision, which is represented by the acronym MEGA, we also say we want to make Enugu great again. And M represents that we're going to multiply agriculture and employment in Enugu State. And when you talk about agriculture, people are like, no, why are you talking about, you're being too simplistic. I said, yes, because Enugu State, it is unacceptable that a state like Enugu State, with the good land that we have, with the sunshine that we have, we still import food from northern Nigeria where they have less climate that is good for agriculture. And that is unacceptable. So what we're going to do is that we're going to invest on large-scale mechanized farming. And when we do that, we'll be able to produce enough food to feed the people of Enugu State. We have enough to service other states, and we will actually export food outside Enugu State. I came because I live and I practice in Canada. I'm an architect by profession. I came down to Enugu with a team of Canadian business people and the government of Canada, and we came seeking to help Enugu State. I don't want to go into that, we didn't end up doing that, but we're able to make Anambra State export food right now to outside of the country.
All right.
And E stands for we're going to enhance the economy of Enugu State. No, is it a wonder that people pass 9 miles to go and buy things in Aba, Port Harcourt, and Onisha? So we're going to build a mega market at 9 Mile and the Bolafo. We're also, under G, going to guarantee an expanded healthcare insurance scheme for Enugu State. And finally, under A, we're going to bring advanced world-class infrastructure, because this is an area that I'm very good at and I know everything about.
All right, Dr. Chidi, what is the constitutional role of the office you want to run for, or you are running for?
Yeah, the role of actually the governor of the state is the chief security officer of the state. And when you say security, it's not just security of actually protecting life and property, but not just the physical protection. That is guaranteeing economic security, their health, and every other aspect of their security. Everything they need to live and exist as a human being. That is the primary responsibility of the chief executive officer of the state.
Thank you very much. Honorable Annie Chukwe Henry of the Young Progressives Party, YPP, you're running for Enugu South Urban Constituency. So we want to know, what is the ideology of your party, and was it by the ideology that you were elected?
Yeah, the idea of the party is to make sure that the people get the services which the government are meant to give to the masses. That's the ideology of the party, because when you talk about our party, it's service to humanity, to make sure that the things that the people need, the bridge between the government and the masses is being covered, so that the masses will benefit direct dividends of the government.
Okay, so was it by this ideology?
Yes, it's by that ideology, because we have been to, you understand that the problem we have in this country is that there's a bridge between the people and the government. So we don't understand what the people want from the government, and we don't have people who transmit it from the government to the people.
Honorable Anichukwe Buka, what is the constitutional rule of this office you want to run for?
I'm running for House of Assembly for Enugu South Urban to represent them in the assembly. The core thing is to make laws and to make the government to do their needful to the people. It's just a representation to know the mind of the people, transmit it to the government, make sure that the things the constituency needs that the government fulfill their promises before getting to the office.
What I would like to find out from you, Honorable Annie Chukwuebuka Henry, what are the most pressing basic needs of your constituency?
Okay. It's an urban area,
Okay.
and it's developed already. But the problem is that we don't have sincere people who understand the needs of the people. Because in urban, we have the things that have been developed, they are being decayed. In schools, if you go to schools that are in the urban, they don't look like school in the urban. In urban, you get to the medical centers. We have one medical centers in Enugu South urban, but we have 4 wards that constitute the urban. And you find out that the government does not give interest to the masses because it's developed already. So there's a bridge gap between the government and the people.
Okay, I love the way you keep talking about bridging this gap and all that. So I want to find out by what means did you discover them?
Okay.
These pressing needs, because I know you mentioned education, schools, you mentioned health.
Yes.
So how did you discover?
Okay. Most times you find out that people who live in the urban does not even know who represents them. All they know is the governor or the president. But there's a councillor, there's a House of Rep member, there's a House of Assembly member, there's a local government. They don't even know them because they've stopped functioning. They don't know what they are meant to do or what they expect them to do for them. That is why the bridge is so much that where I'm coming from, the things that the people need can't come to the government because they don't have people who represent them. They have people who go in for government for their own gain.
So Henry, how do you intend to tackle them?
Okay.
Practically,
Okay.
Yeah.
We've already started town hall meetings, asking the people. The last campaign I went on Monday, I went to Ward 6 in Achalaut. It's a beautiful place, developed people, intelligent people, good houses. But when we get interacting with them, we ask them what is their problem. And it was amazing that they are fighting mosquito. They told me that the problem they have, that mosquito has killed them here, that every day they buy things, drugs from the pharmacy. And you find out that that's the things the governments are meant to do, to put
To do what?
To make sure that if the House of Assembly member gets to the needs of the people, it will tell the government or make them get antiseptics or chemicals that will make the mosquitoes to reduce. That's the bridge we are talking about.
Okay, so how does running for this office you're contesting for address those pressing needs?
Okay. My intention is to make sure I get to the people who stays in the urban to know their needs. Okay. On that day, they showed me the road that have been like that over 4 years, and it's been like that. And it's the role of the government to make sure that the roads are fixed. But the people representing them don't care about them. So the road has been like that, and the people representing has not even come to ask them or want to make them feel the government.
Okay. Okay.
All right, thank you very much, Honorable Annie Chukwuebuka Henry. Back to you, Dr. Chidi Cadet Mwanyang. You are running to be the governor of Enugu State under the party, African Action Congress Party. So I would love to ask you, what are the things he is not doing well, that is the present governor now, that you want to do, or the things that he's already doing but you want to do better, that will make people really vote for you, that will convince people to vote for you instead of a sitting governor? Because there is this notion already that he's performing well. So what are the things you will do to convince the people to vote for you?
Well, the notion you're talking about depends on who you're talking with. So I don't share the same notion. For instance, young people constitute more than 50% of the population of Enugu State. And these are people of education age. If you look at the budget of Enugu State, which is about 109 billion naira, only about 5.5 billion is set aside for education. That's almost less than 10%. For a place where about 50-something% is people of education age. If you do the math, that means about 4,000 or so is set aside by the government to educate people in the state. Think about that. I use more than 4,500 naira on recharge card, and this is what the government thinks is enough to train an individual in the state. What AAC is going to do, that like we've already said, we're going to inject so much money in education that education will literally be free. And you're going to ask me next, how are you going to do this? Right. How we're going to do this is that it is a well-known fact that in the budget of Nigeria, 20% is lost to corruption. And AAC has a master plan for plugging corruption. So when we plug corruption, we would have saved 20% of the money that is wasted out of our budget. If you plug 20% of Enugu state budget, you're going to get close to 20 billion naira already. Now, if we take that 20 billion naira savings, guess where we're going to put it first of all? We're going to put it into education. That means we have multiplied the allocation to education by 4 times what the government has done. So that is one of the things that the government right now is not doing well in Enugu State that we're going to do, because we're very, very concerned about the youth. Everything that we're thinking about feeding them, about education, about health, it's actually focused on the youth. Another thing we're going to do that the government is not doing very well now, I already told you about agriculture. If you go around the streets, you'll hear people say, nah, go in Enugu State, people are talking about hunger on the streets. That is not acceptable. The government has allocated 600 plus million to agriculture. That is very meager. We're going to invest on large, we're talking about the kind of technology in agriculture where you have tractors that are driven by people, but they're not driven by people, that are actually powered by GPS. Now, people always think that agriculture is where you take a hoe to the farm, and they're like, how will young people go and start farming? That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about an agricultural sector where there is when you produce the crops, the farm produce, you have to store them. So we need heavy storage. We're going to employ people who manage this storage facility. There's going to be haulage. We're going to have trailers moving these things all around. We're going to have food processing industries. And then we're going to have export. We're going to turn MNA into an export and import free zone. That international airport there, we're going to make that cargo wing import free zone. So that is going to bring about it's going to be a catalyst for the agriculture, for the economy of Enugu State. There's many other things that we're going to do. You see, the government, I hate to see it, but let me just give it to them. Let me say they are trying, but Enugu State does not need a trying governor. We need the best. We deserve better. So we're not just going to contest. Do you know where Enugu State used to be? Enugu State had actually fallen back to a place where we are 9th position in common entrance. That is not acceptable. This is the state that has produced people like Chimamanda, produced people like Onyeka Onwenu, Chris Okotie, Sonny Okosin, Felix Liberty, Chino Achebe, and this same state is struggling to find its place among the Committee of States in Nigeria.
All right, Dr. Wanyango, you mentioned education, you mentioned health, you mentioned agriculture.
Yes.
We want to find out, you also said you're concentrating on the youths.
Yeah.
But of course, we have other people other than the youths
Yes,
in the state.
Exactly.
So we're wondering, with regards to housing, with regards to transport, clean water, what are your plans? What's your agenda for Enugu State?
Thank you very much. My background is architecture. I have a master's degree in architecture from the University of Nigeria Enugu campus. I also have a doctor of philosophy degree. I have practiced. Agriculture is so much on my mind. I've practiced here in Nigeria as a builder, and then I've also practiced all over the world, literally. I have a construction company in Canada right now. I'm a contractor. So when we talk about infrastructure, people just think about road because they tell you, there's so many roads. But even the quality of the road that is being built in our state does not meet international standards. We've cut through this road. and we know what they're building, but I don't want to go into that. So when you talk about infrastructure, under our plans for infrastructure, we have mass housing. I don't even know how the hell they abandoned the monorail project. That monorail project, the person who designed it, engineer Gwemezie, his company is based in Canada, actually worked on that project. In 2019, monorail is a no-brainer. So there's no reason why we will not have a monorail running from Gariki to Holy Ghost, for instance. It's very cost effective. So we're going to embark on that. And we're going to embark on mass housing. We're going to open up why the congestion in Enugu City, where there are several lands where we can, all the government needs to do is to do, there's something we call site and service. You just open up the land, put the roads, put the basic facility, amenities and facilities, and then people just come and buy the land and they build their stores. So there's lots of those things that we're going to do.
Okay. So we want to find out from you also, Honorable Henry, almost the same thing I asked him, what are your plans? What plans do you have for your constituency with regards to social infrastructure, with regards to health, education, housing, transport, clean water, and all that?
Before now, Enugu used to thrive on those things you said, because I grew up in the urban, I grew up in Achalaut. We used to have good clean waters, but over the years, we find out that the water is no more running. But the problem is not the water not running. The last government, which is the past government from Sullivan, actually corrected the water lines in the street. But the problem is that the present government does not have a maintaining culture of the things that have been existed, because we don't see any new thing coming in. But what I'm contesting is not where we can do promises. It's what we can actually tell the government the needs of the people, whereby finding out what the people need. In urban, I found out that they don't have much. I'm already putting up a bill to sponsor when I get into the house for another health center to be built in Achalaut. The one we have is in O1 by 670. So on that, I'm already planning a bill that will sponsor, that will make the government to make sure that another health center is built for the Achalaut people, so that it will be easy for us to access medical care there. Then on the education, it's getting worse because the child labor is becoming worse in urban. I'm a victim of child labor somehow. I grew up working for my mom and all that, but currently is on the huge side and is uncontrollable. Every part of Enugu metropolis, you find out children doing all sort of things outside the street. They are not in school, and you ask why, you can't even trace their parents. And the government are passing these people all the time, and they are not doing anything about it. I'm already working on something like that to get them back to school, to make sure I get to their parents. Why are they not in school? If you get to me, you see people, all kind of kids, both 4, 5, 7, hawking pure waters, and they are endangering their lives, and the government are not doing anything about them, and it's quite wrong.
All right, thank you so much. This is still the Awakening, the South Saharan Social Development Organization program, and the topic for today has been Know Your Candidates. And with us in the studio, we have been Dr. Chidi Wanya, the governorship candidate of African Action Congress Party, AAC, in the state, and Honorable Annie Chukwuem Ebuka Henry of the Young Progressive Party, YPP, from in Enugu State, and of course you're coming out to represent the Enugu South Urban constituency. Please don't touch your dial, just keep it steady. This is the Awakening program. Of course, you can make your contributions or ask your questions on our Twitter handle at SSDO Awakening and at South Sahara, and also follow the discussion on Facebook and Instagram at The Awakening P. We're going to open our lines now. You can call in with 0806 871 4956 or 081 0913 9902. Remember the golden rule. Please turn down the volume on your radio when you call in. And remember our slogan, be awakened, get involved, and make it happen. Now, before we open the lines, we have a message for you. So please do not touch your dial.
Now get a fish.
Na 5,000. I think you're at 5,000.
This election now, I'm not playing. I'm not going to that was just that we need to know 5,000.
Ndị politician na-ego ije nara ego ego gị nata 5,000 ihe na 4 years ihe ego fuchọị 4 years ya anaghị go echekwa notice ibucha na ibu enwe ife dị n'isi amadị na onwe ihe dị n'isi ije wuru 4 years ile good economy ga anago good road anago hospitality anago agwụghị eziokwu maka ebe eziokwu otu isi were votu ọ bụzie na onye ahụ ije nye n'ala oge akịta batazie n'ọchịchị mụ na onwe ya arụ ka ị ga-eme gbam ihe ị ga-eme inwe ahụ ala votu gị ilegokwu fuchọgo nwụrụkwa anya ka azụ maka na adị ntufu.
All right, glad you're still there. This is still the awakening. We're going to open our lines again. The numbers are 0806 871 4956 and 0810913 9902. Hello, good evening. Be awakened. Get involved and make it happen. Wonderful. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Sorry, your name is what?
Jean. Okay, Jean from Enugu. You're welcome.
Calling from Enugu here.
Welcome.
I welcome the young man there.
He's welcoming you.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you.
Yes, I'm interested in the agricultural aspect of it, but you said that you make it happen agriculture-wise. That's good enough. But I want to know what you are thinking about what I personally consider the 3 F's, from the farm to the factory to the fair. In other words, establishing agri-scheme. And again, what you think about preservation of agriculture, because a lot of our food waste away because of lack of the time spent involved in preserving the agriculture. Finally, what you think is the current problem Nigeria has vis-a-vis governance and the welfare of its people? Because I think it is corruption. Do you think it is otherwise? Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. I guess this question is for Honorable Dr. Chidi. Okay. All right. Hello. Good evening. Be awakened.
Good evening.
Be awakened.
From here.
Yeah, be awakened.
I want to congratulate the candidates
All right, go on.
for their willingness to come out and contest.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Them.
Thank you.
That is what we expect from all the applicants. Those people who are contesting, they should come to media link and tell people what they can do, not making slogans going about. So I believe you, God will help you.
Thank you very much.
Before I go ahead, I want to ask a question, Doc.
Okay.
I know you are able to do something where our people can listen well. You know, this present government is unable to pay pension arrears and gratuity. If you are elected, what are you going to do?
Okay.
Go to me.
Yes,
I heard you.
he heard
Thank
you.
you. God bless you.
All right, thank you very much for calling, Mr. Ibikwe. Be awakened.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening, be awakened.
Please, my name is Dennis. I am calling you from Enugu, but I'm from Uzowa.
All right, you're welcome, Dennis.
Please, what I want to ask the governorship aspirant is, what is his plan for us, we the people of Uzowa, as regards to the other rights? Because if you go there now, you see that the other rights is no longer functioning the way it's supposed to be functioning. Then what is also his plan as regards to our road from Soka Barras to Adan? Because if you go there, if you travel along that road, you'll find out that the road is very deplorable. And also, particularly the people of Limbo, what is his plans in regards to that road from Ezane, Ubenajima, past Nimbo to Upak? Nimbo, what is his plan? And what is also his plan on regards to youth, our youth, Nimbo youth? What is his plan? I want to know. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much, Dennis. Thank you for calling. Okay, so let's. I want you to answer some of those questions first before we take some more calls. So most of the questions were thrown to you, Dr. Chidi. So Jean talked about farm factory fair. So I guess we probably treat that with the one from Dennis, because we're both talking about agriculture and all that. So yeah, let's start off with agriculture.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you so much, because like agriculture is my. If you ask me for a 1-point agenda, it will be agriculture, because once we get it, everything will be fine. Once we just get agriculture, first of all, the people will be fed. When you're fed, you're healthy, you won't even get sick. And then the agricultural produce will put money in our pockets, and then we'll be able to put taxes into the government's hands, and the government will be able to provide the services that we need, and our young people will be employed, and everybody will be happy and will live happy ever after. Now, coming to what he said, you see, we're going to, for each area, and that's why I hate this thing of zoning and saying it's the turn of these people and the turn of these people, and whenever it is the turn of an area, they concentrate in their area to the detriment of other areas of the state. But when we come into power, because we're not running on that on that plan, we are not running based on that zoning nonsense. Sorry for my language. So what we're going to do is a place like Ozowani, that is actually one of the food capitals of Enugu State. I lived in Nsukka. I grew up in Nsukka. I lived at a science school, which is not far away from the army barracks that he's talking about. I used to go to school at DMGS in Onitsha, DMGS college in Onitsha, and we used to go back to Onitsha from army barracks through that road, and it will bust out at Nsugbe in Onitsha. So I know exactly that road he's talking about, and that road used to be fantastic. So I know where you're talking about Dennis, and because I know about it, is the one I would like to refer something that I used in my childhood. And when we're talking about investing in agriculture, be rest assured that we're going to focus on a place like Ozowani. How do I know that the technology that we're going to employ works? I live in Canada, like I said before, and we have just 3 months of good weather. Within that 3 months, we produce enough food to feed the whole country. In Nigeria, we have 12 months of good weather. So if we can employ the kind of technology that they use all over the world, technology that is 2019 compliant, we'll be able to farm in Nigeria up to 3 times in a year. So whatever that they are able to produce in a place like Canada in 1 year, we have the ability to triple that in Nigeria. And that's what we're going to do. Now, coming to the gentleman's question about farm factory and fair. Yeah, because you employ the right technology in your farming, because you use the right techniques. And when we talk about right techniques, from the point you start tilling the ground, you use machines that they go in a particular pattern. Because you use that machine, it is the same kind of machine that you use the combined harvester to come and harvest, and it follows the same route that you use to do the farming. So it's the same system. When you employ the right system, you get it right in the farm. When you get it right in the farm, after getting it right in the farm, and he's talking in line with what I said before, that we're going to establish factories. These are the factories that will go into taking care of the farm produce. Yeah. We're going to turn, before we even get into preservation, we're going to have factories that will turn corn into cornflakes, turn cassava flour, we're going to have cassava flour, we're going to have yam flour, we're going to have cocoyam flour. These things are a lot of money outside the country. If you know how much it costs to like a cup of melon that you buy here for how much? You know how much it costs outside the country.
When you're talking of egusi, is that it?
Egusi.
All right.
If you know how much egusi costs outside Nigeria, everybody will be farming egusi. If you know how much cassava cassava flour is used in factories outside this country, we'll be doing that. So that is about production. Then when you come to the fair, like going to where you display
Because
it,
of course you
and
have to
then-
have good roads to take you to the market, and yeah.
Are you from AAC? Because you're talking like an AAC person. All right, just kidding. But what I'm trying to say is that we already have all this wrapped in our ideology, because it's a complete package. It's not a situation where the system of farming, you know the disconnect we have in Nigeria. The person who is farming in Nigeria is the local farmer. He's still using his hoe. When you go to Ozowan, when you go to Adani, they are still using the local means of farming, and it doesn't produce you anything. And when they do that, then the guy who is going to do the production, you know, when we tried to export food from Nigeria to Canada, do you know the problem they had? The problem they had was with processing. Because over there, if you say that you're going to produce something like cocoyam, and they ask you that they want it to be 5 cm, they expect it to be 5 cm. But you know, we don't do that. We have big, small, you know. But when you have that kind of controlled farming through advanced technology, you produce the kind of things that they want. So the guy who is making a machine, his machine is already fabricated to handle a 5 cm round cocoyam. But if you don't do that, there's a disconnect. So after the farmer produces his own, the guy in the factory cannot use it.
Then it's mentioned Ada Rice. Have you been there? Have you been there?
That was my area.
Okay.
Those
So he
places,
says, what would you do about Ada Rice?
we will just when we say agriculture, I'm not going to say because I am from Nkano West, I will just focus on farming in Nkano West. We're going to look at every part of the state, and from our budget we will allocate to each zone what they need to make them self-sustaining.
Ibekwe talked about pension arrears.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
It is a crime to treat the men and women who took care of Enugu State, who worked in our civil service to live what we now enjoy. It is a crime for us to leave them without their pension. This is their right. So we're going to make sure that every pensioner is not just paid their pension, but we're going to have pets for them. What is done elsewhere in the world is that you have centers where they go and they enjoy themselves. You have, like, because they are retired, they should have recreation facilities. We'll have recreation facilities in all the local governments where they can go and interact with their fellow men, watch TV, play drafts, just enjoy. And then remember, we already have this great insurance health scheme. They'll be able to walk into the hospital and get free treatment.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Sure, Honorable Annie Chukwuebuka Henry of the Young Progressives Party YPP, what is your stand on the issue of minimum wage? Since you're going to the House of Assembly, you intend going to the House of Assembly, what is your stand on the issue of minimum wage? And it is one of the primary concerns of workers in the state.
Okay. My take on that is that already the federal government have already approved, but the state government have not done anything on that.
And you're going to House of Assembly.
Yes. Okay. I will make sure that it goes in line with what the federal government has already allocated. Because most times the problem we have is that the federal government will allocate, the states will have their own allocation because of the money they pay them, which is their the allocation they get from the federal government. So, and it's a problem because it's the same work they give to the masses everywhere. Civil service is the same, whether in state level or in federal level. It's just where you offer your services. It's the same. So I'll make sure it's the same minimum wage that everybody gets. I'll put up a bill that will suggest that to the government.
Okay. Thank you very much. Dr. Chidi Cadet.
I would like to talk on that.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I want to ask you, because you want to be the governor of Enugu
Yes,
State.
yes,
So
yes.
what is your stand on minimum wage?
I think Enugu State will be lucky. No, not lucky. It will be a privilege for us in Enugu State to have an AAC governor, because AAC, our presidential candidate, Omoyele Sowore, has repeatedly said that AAC is going to pay 100,000 naira living wage for every civil servant in Nigeria, and that is what we have done. The arithmetic, we know it is possible, and that is what we're going to do. So you can imagine.
So federal, state,
F-
all yes.
I agree with my colleague here. when you say civil, I don't like that federal and civil. Just like they say the roads here are federal roads. You have a federal road and the government does not repair that federal road. The road that is leading to my village, that expressway that leads to Port Harcourt, whenever there's an accident and people die, go and look at it. It's people from my village. As long as it passes through Enugu State, the federal government will build that road. I'm going to shut down every federal government.
So you're saying...
Well, okay, I'm in the federal government first.
no, but so you're saying...
So what I'm saying...
with regard to minimum wage?
Yeah, yes. We are going to pay 100,000 naira minimum. Not minimum wage, it is living wage.
All right.
Because when you break it down, what does it come to? 30,000 comes to 1,000 in a day.
All right.
What are you going to do with 1,000?
All right, be awakened.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, be awakened.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Get involved and make it happen. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Yeah, this is the Pachi Mokora. I'm calling you from Abia.
All right, you're welcome in the Pachi from Abia.
Yes, I listened to your guys. They see the problem we have in this country during election time and all the rest of them. Many people will come to the city and all the rest of
them. Pachi, are you there? Hello, we didn't hear what you said. Yeah, could you?
Yes, the problem we have in this country that people will do election, promises and promises. Like what you said, that is just said and done. People will come and say they will do this, they will do that. Like the man we said that he came back from Canada. Yes, of course. Now, but by the time we gave them our goods and their mandate, then my sister, I am telling you, one of them will do it again. So we stay at Abuja then for them to come back. And they ask yourself, I don't know, I have come from town hall meetings and all the rest of them. So now, you are telling Abuja, they cannot come back again to make the same. You know? So it's very difficult. So I don't know. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you. Well, I don't believe everybody is the same anyway. Well, yeah, so,
well, you have to look at track records. What have we promised in the past? When you were talking at the beginning, you said that a promise is a debt unpaid.
Yeah.
So if we have paid the debt that we owed in the past, then there is likelihood that we will also perform in the future.
Hello, be awakened. Please turn down the volume on your radio. Hello. I'll have to. Yeah, too bad. It's too noisy. Hello, be awakened.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening. Be awakened.
Yes.
Get involved and make it happen.
Get it happen.
That's right. What's your name?
And let it happen in this 2019 that I next week.
All right. Amen. It would. So what's your name and where are you calling from?
Yeah. You see, I've been enjoying your topic and even the guests. One thing is this. I want.
What's your name? What's your name?
Okay, my name is Ani Breze.
Okay, you're calling from?
From Enugu.
Okay, thank you.
I was talked like this young man in the studio some 14 years ago. Because I believe, honestly, I think I'm a more practicable person than anything that is practicable. What I'm trying to say is that I want this young man to look at the constitution of this country. That the way the country is structured will not enable them achieve all these things they are telling us here. You know what is in the executive list. You say when you get there, you shut down this, you shut down that. My brother, I'm a more militant than you. In fact, I'm an ex-serviceman. Let me tell you.
So your question, yes. So your question.
My the point I want to make here is that for this thing to be realistic, get that to be concession. Let the concession. They go and review the concession. If the concession is not revisited, there's no way you can tell us all these things and it. Because look at it, we are getting tomato, getting every food from the north. Why did the government not go and put into their farms there? But they come down here to destroy your farms.
All right, your point has been noted. Thank you so much for calling in.
Thank you.
Hello, be awakened.
Yes, let it happen.
Very good. What's your name and where are you calling from? Okay, Madrabuchi from Ebonyi State. You're welcome.
Thank you. I want to appreciate your guys. I have been listening quietly and I have been making solid points there. but just to say that it's quite necessary that we know our candidates. But like I will not actually debate on the last conference. You see, there are many things that are quite wrong in this country, and I doubt whether one person can do it, even Mr. President himself. It's more or less, I said, you have the spring of this country. And for a person to think of doing that, even in the state level, I think you need a total overhaul. If you can do that, then it can last. That is the citizens. I was quite, I said, we said it was impressive that he said he's going to show the program of culture, which is quite good. Because we have to start from there. You go to education, you go to security, and other areas of the economy of the state. But when the constitution of the land is was signed or not reviewed based on the fact that people that go there, what we call the business, I think we cannot get this quite right. How you say that, for example, from our senators, even our councillor, don't even live in his constituency. So now we think that we can understand the plight of the people, so we he or she is protect. That is the program life. So in terms of constitution, as a governor, as a president, make it compulsory that they must be where you are from. If you can do that, you can understand the needs of the people. Then let's just have you with it. So I want to thank you for this program we do. What we could do to show all of you, but we are more advanced than the way people think that we are this for. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Wow. Okay. So you want to comment on what he said? Okay.
The problem we have in the society is that the electorate has had this notion of voting people who are in the party. Over the years, the party has failed us. So before they vote, they should know who their candidate, like the program said, who is your candidate. Let people stop hiding under the party alliance that you're under PDP, that you have to win, and let the people know who you're voting for. Because my major contender in where I'm contesting in Enugu South Urban has served for over 6 years in the local government as a local government chairman. And he has served as NEC chairman and commissioner in Enugu State. And now he's coming to represent just forward. When you've served and you have nothing to show for it, and you're hiding under the party, and you cannot even come out to tell the people what you have for them, what the government are to offer to them, and the people want to elect you. And I think the problem we have in this society is the electorate. Let them stop voting people based on party. We've passed grown party lines. Let's vote candidates who are viable, who are ready to deliver, who are ready to give service to the people, who have the passion, the innovation to serve. Not Too Young to Run has given us the opportunity to come out and challenge the status quo, to change the narrative so that things will start happening. It will be clear when I will get in there that we'll see the difference between the black and the white. So I urge our electorate to vote the right candidates who can deliver the promises.
All right.
Yes.
All right, so I want to find out from you. Do you have sponsors?
AAC party does not believe in godfathers. They don't believe in godmothers. We don't believe in money bags. We don't have a big war chest. We don't have a lot of money, and we're not shy to say that. We raise our money from ordinary individuals. We have a GoFundMe account, and we have an account. It's open. We declare it every day. We show people how much we make. So we don't believe in godfathers. We don't believe in godmothers. It's actually because of sponsors and godfathers that when leaders get into positions of authority, they are not able to perform. I wanted to quickly touch about on the constitution that the man talked about. Yes, you see the difference between like one artist and another artist. They have the same playing field, but one artist excels amongst the other artists. Or when you make a movie, it goes viral. It's because there's something you know to do that the other people don't know to do it. Someone like Chidi, when he was here in Enugu, he was a certain party and the federal government was a certain party, but he was able to build the ESUTEC, the television thing. He was able to build a Nike Lake Hotel, the Kenga Hotel. He did so much, and yet he was in a place where there were other governors. So they need to try something new, like my colleague has said, and they will begin to enjoy the benefits of having a young, intelligent, vibrant governor than what they... Well,
so, Honorable Henry, do you have sponsors?
I wanted to contribute on that.
Okay.
My party is what defines what politics is. In the Western world, it's a game actually, and the present government has made politics look as if you need a lot of money to contest. But thank God for Young Progressive Party, who has given us the privilege to run and to share our views and our passion to the people. About Godfather, there's no Godfather anywhere. The people on the street are Godfathers who have God the Father, and we don't need Godfathers. All we need is the Electorate.
We just want to know if you have sponsors.
No, I don't. I don't.
Oh, okay. Because we were wondering, how do you cover up the whole places, go round,
Okay.
Yeah, we
we
actually have sponsors, and our sponsors are the common man on the street.
Okay. So that was that.
Yeah, that's one that sponsors.
All right, how time flies! My goodness, we have so many questions, so many calls are coming in, but then we need to stop because it's already time. Now, so this is the Awakening, the South Saharan Social Development Organization program, sponsored with support from OSIWA and DFID UK, and the topic for today has been Know Your Candidates. We had Dr. Chidi Cadet Wanyamu, the governorship candidate of African Action Congress Party, AAC Enugu State, and Honorable Annie Chukwebuka Henry of the Young Progressive Party, YPP. Yes, who is a candidate for Enugu South Urban Constituency. They've been in the studio talking to us, telling us all the wonderful things they will do if elected. Well, kindly keep the discussion going on our Twitter handle at SSDO Awakening and at South Saharan, and also follow this discussion on Facebook and Instagram at The Awakening P. Before we go, this is a message to politicians, and this is from Israel Moore Ivor. It says, if you can't do it, don't pledge to do it. Don't be a liar. Say only what you can do. It's better for you to have a single sentence manifesto, which is fulfilled, than to have 25 chapters theories that remain undone. And so the parable of the talents.
Remember to choose your leaders with wisdom and forethought. To be led by a coward is to be controlled by all that the coward fears. To be led by a fool is to be led by the opportunist who control the fool. To be led by a thief is to offer up your most precious treasuries to be stolen. To be led by a liar is to act to be told lies. To be led by a tyrant is to sell yourself and those you love into slavery. Remember, it's from Octavia E. Butler, Parable of the Talents.
All right, so join us same time, same station next week as we discuss more pressing matters here on The Awakening. Many thanks to our producers and all that have helped for the program. Many thanks to Blessing Uchendu. Many thanks to Ben Nistan Joko, Ndidi Edokwe, and also Winifred Maduko. Thank you so much. My name is Trish Eze. Keep a day with us next week.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.